Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Waiver Wire Show of SportsEthos. You're with me, Eric. We're back to our regularly scheduled Sunday programming, and yeah, we're here to talk about waiver wire pickups. And let's start off with some news. Um, Kevin Durant just injured his right knee tonight. Tonight, yeah, that's fresh news. I think Jimmy Butler landed on it, and it didn't really look good. And according to Coach Jacques Vaughn, KD is set to receive an MRI tomorrow night or tomorrow. So, what does that mean? And who are the people who are likely going to benefit from KD's potential absence? Off the top, I think we're going to see some more heavy lifting from Kyrie Irving, obviously, but scoring wise, it's going to be tough. Uh, I think the right move for them is to drop more plays for Nicholas Claxton to do some damage in the paint. But again, his offensive game is still on the raw side, despite some improvements this season. The obvious choice, well, yeah, not too inspiring, but still obvious choice would be TJ Warren. But uh, I wouldn't, hurry up and grab Warren just yet, especially if you're playing in head to head, because the Nets play only 2 games next week, or this coming week for that matter. Uh, you might need that streaming slot um, for someone else. Yeah. Um, and another thing from tonight's games, I'd like to point out that Kenrich Williams started at center instead of Mike Muscala. I think he's the superior choice, and I think that he is worth a pickup in probably 14 team leagues or deeper. Yeah. Williams is shooting well from three as of late and is capable of providing those hustle stats. I mean, they don't call him Kenny Hustle for nothing, right? Uh, Tonight's a bit of a weird game coming from the Thunder. Giddy's got himself into a lot of foul trouble, so he's not really doing too well. But that said, I recommend Kenrich Williams as a pickup, definitely. Uh, Now, for you deep leaguers and some of you who are like me, who play in a few the leagues that are 16 teams or more, um, I have my eye on Jaden Hardy of the Mavericks. I know tonight is a grain of salt kind of game because Luka Doncic is not playing. But that said, Hardy has been playing well, contributing points in double digits over his last handful of games, which isn't too bad. I know it's not fantastic, but yeah. Obviously, from the Thunder side of this game, Jalen Williams has to be rostered even in 12-team leagues at this point. I'd be surprised if he's still lying around your wires for some reason. Yeah. So tonight we got the return of Jalen Smith, which wasn't all too inspiring. He's been dealing with a sore hand. Uh, but there you got great games from Aaron Neesmith and Andrew Nemhard. Both of these guys are soaking up a lot of those minutes. Coach Rick Carlisle has been playing the starters heavier minutes, and as you can see with Jalen Smith's return, there was even no need or intention to play Isaiah Jackson. So Jackson definitely is somebody who you should leave on the wire everywhere. Uh, One thing I want to point out from Saturday night's game, Mo Bamba received a DNP coach's decision. It also coincided with the return of Mo Wagner. Uh, it probably isn't a coincidence or just an experiment. We don't know for sure just yet, which is unfortunate because um, we've seen Bamba deliver at least streaming value in the past. And if this is going to be the case, and he's not playing, he might have to be dropped even in deep leagues, which kind of sucks, really. We still have no ball. He's gonna be he's been ruled out. I think, yeah, because of health and safety protocols. So that leaves us, uh, guys in deep leagues, counting on Mo Wagner for production, playing behind Wendell Carter Jr. He's okay. Um, he was playing well prior to the suspension. After that tussle with Detroit Pistons Killian Hayes. Hayes, on the other hand, speaking of whom, has been a steals machine lately, racking up those steals. I kind of like him moving forward. Um, and just to share, there's a standing offer of Jalen Brunson plus Killian Hayes for my DeMar DeRozan. Outside of Chris Paul, I don't have any other passing point guards. I do have Nikola Jokic as my center, so he passes like a point guard too. But with Chris Paul hurt, um, it's not looking good for my assists probably in the coming games. Hopefully not in the coming weeks, but I'm inclined to entertain that offer. Um, what do you guys think? So yeah, feel free to ask questions. By the way, you're welcome to jump in the comment section, and I'll address any specific concerns you may have for your regarding your fantasy teams. Uh, yeah. Okay. Now moving on. I like to a small degree Dwayne Washington in very deep leagues. I'm gonna just quickly switch to the Suns box score right now and see how he did. I think I streamed him in one of my leagues, but we'll see. Not bad, not bad. Washington did okay. I also was able to pick him up in the 30 team deep league. Yeah, yeah, good stuff, good stuff. Um, while Washington didn't start, they started Dario Saric. Washington easily, is leading the second unit in minutes with 12, and he's already scored 14 points, which is a team high as of halftime. So there you have that. Okay, any other? Yeah. All right. Going back, I think Royce O'Neal is somebody who should still be rostered despite his poor shooting tonight. He shot 3 of 11 from the field, which does suck, but he did contribute one triple, one steal, 6 boards, 6 assists, and 2 blocks for a pretty well rounded line, though on, rough shooting. So here you can see that after Kevin Durant's 17 points, the points fall off drastically. From the minutes, we can see that it's Seth Curry who inherited a lot of the playing time after that. He wound up with 14 points, which is pretty good. I have a couple of shares of Seth using him for this week. I had the intention of cycling him out and just streaming him, but given the injury to Durant, I might not, and just hold on to him. Yeah. Okay. So, who are our other waiver wire recommendations? Uh, my deep league play on Cody Martin didn't really pan out, so he was kind of a dumpster fire. I ended up not using him. I intentionally benched him tonight in one matchup because of his poor shooting. Yeah, I was thinking that he'd be a reasonable source of, um, steals and other, peripherals, which he was kind of last season. I mean, he was a regular streamer for steals. Yeah, yeah. Uh, Another injury I'd like to point out, and that was Marcus Smart. He left the game on Saturday and didn't return. Um, expect much better production from Malcolm Brogdon in the coming games if he gets extra minutes. So he's definitely somebody to keep an eye on. Yes, of course. How can I forget? A career high night for Anthony Lamb of the Warriors, which to me is a bad sign for the Warriors if Anthony Lamb is leading your team in scoring. So that said, regardless of how the Warriors are doing, which really isn't good, um, Anthony Lamb is definitely somebody to consider as a streaming option, even in standard leagues for this upcoming week. I have a few shares of Jordan Poole, which um, I do regret having. He's just not panning out as far as the shooting efficiency is concerned. Yeah, the points are there, the threes are there, but dang, the guy's efficiency that was there from last season totally disappeared and apparently fizzled out. Uh, there you have it. So, moving on, another name I'd like to recommend as far as a pickup is concerned. Where were you? Is Max Struess has been actually playing with a top 70 value over the last week. He's okay as a 3 point streamer, but you all know that. Jayshawn Tate, interestingly enough, in his first game had 11 points, a three and two steals, 60 plus field goal. Not too bad, not too impressive either. He's definitely going to hurt the stock of Terry Eason moving forward. We're going to really need a trade of Kenyon Martin Jr. and probably also Eric Gordon to free up time for Terry. I've unfortunately already had to, what you call this, give up some shares of Eason in a few leagues, which really hurt me because I was really high on him. And because of that, for next year, I will have a hard rule in place for my protection, and I'm just gonna limit myself, regardless of where I am and who's left on the draft board in my drafts. I'm gonna stick to a hard rule of only one rookie. I've had too many rookies this season, and that's what I'd like to blame for my poor performances of the teams that do have a lot of rookies. Mostly it was Keegan Murray and Terry Eason, who I loaded up on probably too early and too many times. Keegan Murray obviously is fine. Not as great as I'd hope, obviously, but you can see that he's closer to reaching his potential and his upside as opposed to Eason, who, for some reason, because he belongs to a crappy franchise that won't let him play enough minutes, um, I don't know. Is it really just that the Rockets are a crappy team and they won't let a good player play? Probably not, because there are several players um, throughout history who have played well in summer league and yet during the regular season disappear. Case in point would probably be Cameron Thomas is a great example of the Nets. He's like, back to back summer leagues where he's averaging 20 plus points, threes in bunches, etc., etc. But come the regular season, um, the guy's not even part of the regular Nets rotation. So there you have it. It does happen that there are players who are good in that particular or that specific environment, but when it comes to their playing against much tougher competition on a regular basis, it doesn't really work out for them. So hopefully that's not the case for Eason. I think that he is a very talented player who can do damage on both ends of the floor. Uh, yeah. So Trey Harrell, obviously, is somebody I recommend. I think by now he's probably somebody who is rostered in all of your leagues. Though I can see that he is somebody who can retain some value in the absence of Joel Embiid, which um, because Embiid still does not have a clear timeline for a return. And until he does return, I definitely recommend that Harold be rostered, you know, wherever you need points, a boost in points and field goal. Yeah. Um, Interestingly enough, uh, yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. got hurt earlier, but was able to return to the game. Uh, Trey Mann, top 100 guy over the last 3 games of his, but over the last week, I'm sorry, but he was very hit or miss. But considering he was averaging 2.3 triples over that span, I don't really mind it so much. But other than that, there's not much to cheer about. Dante DiVincenzo is somebody who's hit the wire in one of my leagues, which is interesting to note. Okay. DiVincenzo was not uh, slated to start on Saturday, but because Clay Thompson was a late scratch, they reinserted DiVincenzo, and he led the team in 3 point shooting, or 3 pointers made rather. Um, so as long as he's getting minutes in the 25 to 30 range, that's good enough for DDV to provide, you know, um, standard league value as far as I'm concerned. So don't be that guy that drops DiVincenzo. Norman Powell has looked pretty decent in the absences of absences slash blowout games of the Clippers. Yeah, absences of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And I don't know if he's on wires, but Powell is somebody who I can imagine was thrown. For example, Alec Burks also is somebody who I've picked up um, in one league, one standard league. Uh, he was only so tonight, but 12-4-4 on reasonable shooting ain't too bad. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Hayes. He's playing well. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to have to pull the trigger on that Brunson plus Hayes for DeMar. Though I wish I could get somebody better. Maybe I ask for Trey Jones. What do you guys think? I That's an interesting head-to-head comparison. Who would you rather have rest of season? Trey Jones, Killian Hayes. I think Hayes will have the higher assists rate, but in terms of more consistent scoring and on better field goal percentage, we're gonna see that come out of Jones, who is arguably the last productive player standing on a Spurs team that's ravaged by injuries. So there. Uh, yeah. Okay. Chris Paul's out still, and I think that yes, after what I'm seeing now from Dwayne Washington Jr., he's definitely an ad recommendation. Probably even for 14 teamers. Yeah. Like, I mean, in a game where you see DeAndre Ayton struggling, shooting 20, or well, fine, over barely over 20% from the field, versus the Cavs. Cavs are just really toasting them right now. Um, and yeah, that's really not looking good at all. Uh, as far as Clippers go, I like the situation that um, Terrence Mann is in. If you're in a deep league, he's okay. Nicholas Batum recently, just returned literally tonight after a few game absences. He's somebody who is a nice booster option if you're looking for defensive stats. He's not all that reliable, though, which is a kind of an issue because of his age and his, um, being injury prone and all that. Interesting game tonight by Santi Aldama. We're still not having any updates regarding a return for Brandon Clark, but 12 points, 50 field goal, two threes, and a block. You could do worse. I probably will pick him up if I can. Um, yeah, dropping Cody Martin for sure. All right. But yeah, he's somebody who I have my eye on. But for as long as Jaren Jackson is playing at this crazy level. He had like eight combined, like 10 cash counters, eight combined defensive stats. Just that's just crazy, and there really is no reason for the Grizzlies to sit him out. So yeah, um, and that's it, I believe. Yeah, I know that Kelly Olynyk got injured tonight. Um, he hurt his ankle and did not return to the game. There really isn't anyone who's gonna step up out of that Jazz team. Uh, Probably Walker Kessler is uh, is the guy in line for more minutes. He can start at center. Vanderbilt can slide at power forward. Um, that being the case, he had a great double double with 6 blocks tonight. And if Kessler is somehow still not owned in your leagues, he's definitely somebody who I consider to, uh, be in line for more production if Olenek misses time. So that's it for tonight. We're gonna cut it, short. I have a lot more blurbing and editing to do on the writing side of Sports Ethos, but thank you for dropping by. Thank you for listening, and hopefully next time, my buddy Ethan will be back. I know it's been a long time. I miss him dearly, and it really isn't the same when I'm, just talking and to an empty screen basically, or looking up stats. And it's really nice when I'm interacting with someone and discussing fantasy basketball, because it's those kinds of discussions that really got me into writing in the first place. That said, uh, if you like the content that you've been watching or listening to, please like and subscribe. Click on that bell for notifications, especially when we schedule this. For the time being, I assume that we're going to be sticking with the Sunday schedule until Ethan gets back to us regarding his availability, which I hope will be, you know, sometime soon. But that said, thank you very much and see you next week.